There is some positive news coming in. If you are to enter the airport through the Indira Gandhi airport, you can now use DigiYatra facility without actually downloading a mobile app. I mean, Mark, if I were to come to you, we've come very far from the fact, and when the COVID peaked, and I remember taking a flight right after COVID, we went faceless. We could do it all. It was seamless, moving through one point to another point in security. It was in fact as good as any other Western airport out there. And now we seems to be only making strides when it comes to seamless connectivity and travel in airports. This, of course, is good news.
Well, on the lighter side, with the DigiYatra, with not needing the app, it's still going to take you 3 hours to board your flight. So, and in any airport in the world, it takes you 45 minutes. But
okay.
the bigger concern here is, where did they get my data from? Where did they get my information from? How do they know what I look like? How do they have my fingerprints? Is that what you and me as citizens of this country, I never signed up for my data to be shared with an airport operator so that he knows everything. And we know where he's getting it from. He's getting it from the Aadhaar database. They've got your fingerprints. We've linked Aadhaar to our bank accounts, our blood tests. I mean, I won't be surprised if a Starbucks and a coffee day asks us for an Aadhaar number as well tomorrow, right?
So I hope that's not the case. I know that the government has said that you shouldn't be making your Aadhaar data available to anyone and everyone
that's right.
out there.
So, but this is, the airport.
So let me quickly also add. Let me also quickly add as to how
consent, and
right.
that is a fear. That is a big worry for me, because I never gave them the rights to that data. And this is going to be.
No, Mark, I also want to
contested.
quickly clarify on how this is going to be done from the reports that we are getting right now. So they don't already have your data. You'll have to register. There is going to be a 3-step registration process through which you will be able to, seamlessly move without actually downloading an app on your phone. So it's not like they have your data. You'll still have to feed in your details.
Shweta, Krishna, spoiler alert, Indian airport security is amongst the strongest and the finest in the world. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. We've had facial recognition systems working in India since the Mumbai terror attacks in 26/11. Okay. After that, we went facial recognition. So the technology has been in existence for more than 15 years. So, we're not fooling anybody. It's already there. Our airports are 10 times more smarter than probably all of us put together. Yeah. But the basic premise is this really going to improve efficiency in an airport? You're still, is that DigiYatra going to speed up the check-in process? The world standard is 35 to 45 seconds per passenger per check-in. So you got it for 400 passenger flight, it's 400 multiplied by 45 seconds. But guess what? In India, it takes 3 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes. It takes our airport security check by CISF is not adequately manned because the airport operator doesn't want to pay CISF for more people. We're standing for 45 minutes for immigration because again, you don't want to pay the immigration authorities to come and man more posts. So how on earth is this going to be? So, is it going to be a radical, dramatic change to improving efficiency? It's not. It clearly appears to be, as we all are smart enough to realize, it's a gimmick. It's nothing but a stunt to try and show that we're so advanced and automated. But guess what? You're not fixed the rudimentary problem of sorting out how effective is the airport functioning. And I still can't get why hasn't ERA or the Ministry of Civil Aviation thrown the book at Delhi International Airport for managing such insane inefficiencies. Now, Delhi Airport doesn't realize, because if I'm going to take a flight and I got to spend 2 hours or 2 hours 45 minutes dealing with airport procedures, well, guess what? They're going to lose money because I won't have any time left for duty free or buying, snackies and gifts or something for the flight. So they don't, it's sad is that hasn't resonated in their minds yet. But as a vibrant democracy that we are, where we elect leaders, even the Ministry of Civil Aviation is accountable to us as citizens of this country, as the traveling public. And that action needs to be translated more strongly. You know, DigiYatra is all fine. Those are, you know, yeah, that's jam and jelly. But bread and butter means that you need to have an efficient airport. If you don't have an efficient airport, then DigiYatra and all the knickknacks and bells and whistles really mean nothing end of the day.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. And Krishna, I think it's an important concern. It's an important concern to all those who are hoping to take a flight or have taken a flight in the past, because you often have to queue up, especially now post-COVID, when the number of people going back to airports is in fact more than during, you know, our pre-COVID levels. And therefore, the concern is that you arrive, even if on time, and you've expected to arrive at least 2 to 3 hours prior to the departure time, you are still met with long queues. There seems to be an inefficiency at play here, and I don't know who to blame it on, but it is a problem to me as a customer, as somebody who's traveling, as a frequent flyer, and I'm sure to a lot of other people. How do you really mitigate these problems? Because these problems with checking in, and as Mark pointed out, from a few seconds that you take abroad to a couple of minutes to about 30 minutes that you can take, I mean, and that's a lot of time wasted. That's a lot of time wasted for me. So I would rather take a train than take a flight. So all in all, it's a lose-lose business for people who are operating airlines if they don't make it easier for an average person to get in through the security points, to check in quickly and board the flight quickly. So it becomes a losing business.
Right, but the funny thing is that, you know, we've discussed how our airports are so much better than some of the Western airports. We've done it so well during the pandemic. We're just talking about our first 10 to 15 minute inconvenience. It's not a lose-lose because we've done so many things well. We're just fixing this entry into the airport kind of a situation. And there are inefficiencies within the airports that need to be fixed, that are being fixed over a period of time. So I would say the growth in airports that's been witnessed, say, the last decade or so, we're just waking up to the fact that we need double the number of airports that we do right now. So which means that systems and processes are at a very early stage of evolution. DigiYatra, in the sense that for all the questions that you asked, the idea from the government was DigiYatra is one of the answers to the questions that you asked. You know, how do you get into the airport fast enough? We're giving you DigiYatra. Why don't you try it out? And so many people did try it out DigiYatra, and they did benefit from DigiYatra because they just, like, you know, registered with their PNR on the app, and they just walked inside straight away. They didn't have to stand in long queues. And then there were memes about how now so many people are using DigiYatra that there's no DigiYatra queues happening. But it's only because you have that volume of traffic entering Indian airports. It's not, and when you want more airlines, and when you want more and more airlines, you're talking about the footfall in airports doubling and trebling in the way forward. So there needs to be systems and processes that can handle that kind of traffic. My question here at this stage is that how far along are we in that process in terms of planning for the times ahead when Go First will be back on air, Jet Airways will be back on air, so many more people, even more than now, will be taken to the skies.
Okay.
So I believe, I'm optimistic as always, that we are in an early stage of evolution. So DigiYatra, I think, will also go through its stages of evolution. Right now, they realize the fact that you can't force people to download an app at any stage. So, but then those people do use the airports. So what happens to them?
Okay.
So that's why the solution, no app needed, just, you know, use this and you can get inside the airport through DigiYatra faster.
Okay.
So let's hope there are more and more serious reformation in airport efficiencies that Martin was talking about, you know, more inside the airport, which makes the process much faster from the time you enter the airport to the time you take the flight.
Fair enough. And Mark, before I let you go, I think it's a fair enough assessment that the number of people who are entering airport are way more now as compared to what they were even until, you know, prior to COVID. So the idea that the demand is higher than what we are able to supply at this point in time, and we need long-term plans for that.
No, I think Krishna brought up a very important point where our airports, you know, I think we need to understand why our airports getting choked. Now, we've added 50 regional airports all across the country. We've got a Jabalpur, a Bhagalpur, we've upgraded airports in the Northeast, we've created new airports where none existed. Now, we're also flying there, right? So when a flight takes off from a Jagdalpur or a Bhagalpur or wherever it is, it has to land somewhere. It's not going to take off and land back at the same airport. Now, we have created this 45 airports across the country, and those flights from those airports are going to go over to a Delhi and Mumbai. But here's my point. Why are these airports packed and choked? Is because we're not physically expanding those airports anymore. एक बार बना लिया तो बना लिया, बस इसको चलाओ 50 साल के लिए. So we brought private operators with the whole intent of taking care of that load, that demand, that throughput. If we are in the same situation than to what AI was 25 years ago, then guess what? We were better off with AI because they did a better job from that
Okay.
fundamental. Yeah.
Okay.
So clearly, what needs to be done, and the only solution, guys, the only solution to making our airports efficient is, I think you all know, we all know that there was supposed to be a T4 coming up in Delhi airport, right? We were supposed to have a mirror terminal of T3 right opposite. There was going to be a T4. Where on earth is T4?
So Mark
what
essentially
we're
is saying
seeing,
that create more airports, bigger airports, efficiency will follow automatically, because at the end of the day,
create more
traffic is only
airports.
growing.
We got to get rid of that 150 kilometer rule. I mean, we really can't have a GMR reside on a monopoly. A city like Delhi needs more airports. We need at least 2 or 3 airports. Only then we can effectively control the kind of traffic we're handling. If we are the world's third largest aviation market after China and the US, I mean, obviously we have to back it with infrastructure, or otherwise where are you going to land these aircraft? We have created regional airports. They feed into primary airports, and we're not expanding primary airports. We're going on forcing in people. Obviously it's going to choke, right? And you
Absolutely
can
no
have
disagreement on that, Mark. Absolutely no disagreement on that. And this is a conversation we can have for hours and hours because this is interesting and important conversation.
Yes.
It basically caters to the need of the people, the demand that is out there, and where we can do better as far as our civil aviation infrastructure is concerned. But we're running short on time. Really appreciate you joining us this morning with your inputs on that story.